Fall River is an old mill town. For years, you could drop out of school and not have to worry about an education because you could get a good paying job in the mills. It's been over 2 to 3 decades now that those jobs have moved overseas, and that is no longer the case. Henry Lord is a diverse student body. We service over 800 students here at Lord.
Our building has 250 English language learners, and then we have special ed students in every room. Lots of neurodiversity.
Lots of access to drugs and violence across our community. So making sure that our kids are able to find the mental place to find calmness and self-regulation within their school day is really important.
There's no calming corners or timeout corners in life. And so I think teaching kids to have something like this that they can do anytime, anywhere is huge. Without having a way to regulate how you're feeling, learning can't happen.
The journey of Henry Lord has been rather unique.
So in Massachusetts, there's a number of schools that are considered failing schools, and they're in turnaround. And we've been in turnaround since Dr. B got here 6 years ago. And then last year, when we got our results, we actually found out we had moved to get out of turnaround.
So it's awesome to go from being what was once looked at as the school that just wasn't getting it done to now being a school that across our community, many are knocking on the door asking, how are you getting this, that, and the other thing done?
When I asked any of my teachers at the beginning of the year, what's your vision for your classroom? What do you want to be true for your kids? Every single teacher names kindness and love as a core of their value that they want to see in their classroom. I want my students to be kind to one another. I want them to build each other up. I want them to help each other. I want it to feel like a community. And I feel like the 4 pillars have really given teachers a tool to foster that. We were in a hybrid situation with COVID, and we saw our kids really struggle with being able to regulate their emotions and being able to respond to the events that were happening. And as soon as I started implementing this, I saw a change almost instantly in my students, and it has been a complete game changer.
Last year was a really, really tough year. As we returned from the pandemic, we recognized that we needed to do something different for our students, but also for our staff. And the Contentment Foundation met that need.
What Contentment Foundation and the 4 pillars offer that's unique is this flexibility to use it in a way that makes sense with your staff. There's always this pressure of every minute counts. They need to be learning. We need to maximize the academic time. But any teacher you ask that's been using this curriculum with fidelity would say that every minute they've given to it has been well worth it.
I get a lot of questions on what do you use for classroom management? And this has kind of been we've had this program here at school, and that's kind of what I fall back on. And with 26 kids, I have them split into 5 to 6 different reading groups, and I'm able to meet with every single group every day because I'm not having to stop what I'm doing to readdress any behaviors. Made my job a lot easier.
I'll walk into a classroom and I'll see one student actually with their paper flipped, and I'm like, uh-oh, what's going on? And then I walk over and they have opted to take their mindful minute, and they're sitting there, they're collecting themselves, and I'll say, everything good? They're like, yeah, I was feeling a little stressed. I just needed a minute. It feels magical this year. Student's mother came in and asked me, they're like, what's a mindful minute? And I said, have you heard about it? And they're like, yeah, so-and-so was fighting with their sister at home. And she said, time out, I need to take a mindful minute. And she went and sat on her bed and started breathing in and out. And then afterwards, she said she was sorry, and they kept playing. And so I need to know what that is because I need to teach it to my other kids. We still have so far to go in our society to be inclusive, to be accepting, to be patient, to be empathetic. And I think any tools we can give our young generation to build those skills and practice them, it's a no-brainer. We have to.
We're offering kids different tools for their toolbox. I had that conversation earlier today with a middle school student. Your toolbox is only quarter of the way full. There's so much more you're gonna add to it, and there's so much you're gonna add to it and then take out once you realize you don't need that tool anymore. So I think it's up to us as educators to fill those toolboxes as much as we can and give our kids the tools to pick and choose which tools they use when. No one's saying you got to go for the hammer all the time. Go slow, man. Use the tweezers. See what you get.
I love this program. It's truly, I keep saying it's been a game changer to everyone, but it really has. I've seen such a difference. I've gotten a lot of academic time back without having to handle any behavior issues. And I couldn't thank you guys enough for putting this program together because it's been just phenomenal.
I've seen the Contentment Foundation meet the needs of kids and staff, all in support of academic achievement. This is an example of what has worked in Fall River, and I would highly recommend other educators checking it out. We have worked so hard to create this community that nobody takes it for granted. When the staff come forward asking for it to be school-wide and asking for their colleagues to be provided the same time to engage in the program, you know it's the right program for your people. And as leaders, you got to respond to your people the same way you respond to your kids.